What's up? What's up? What's up? How are you? It is so exciting to be here live with you this morning. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Demita McGee. I am a Christian women's business coach, you guys. I'm the founder of Christian Business Academy Worldwide, as you see right there. And the mission of my company, the mission of these videos, the mission of this channel, if you are watching us on YouTube, is to help existing and aspiring entrepreneurs align their business with biblical principles. And one small thing that you can do to support this mission is simply subscribe. You can do that. You can like the video. You can share it with someone, tag someone in it, whatever the case may be. But great morning. If we are not connected, let's ensure we do that as well. Listen, I know we're connected right there on Facebook or YouTube because you're watching, but you can also go to my website, which has some really cool resources. If you are an aspiring entrepreneur or an existing entrepreneur, some of those resources are free. Check them out. And then we can connect right there at the official Demita McGee. That is me on Facebook. That is me on Instagram as well. As you can see, we are in the holiday spirit up in here. Y'all see that? We've been playing holiday spirit stuff on the television. I pray you have the most amazing holiday. I pray that your Thanksgiving was beautiful. And however you celebrate the holiday season, I pray that I was talking to my daughter and letting her know that for everybody, this isn't a joyous season. It may be the first time that, for my husband, for example, that he is going through the holiday without his father. He lost his father in May. And so that means that it's the first time that my mother-in-law is experiencing a holiday season, the first time in close to 50 years without her husband. So I realized that not for everybody, this is not the most joyous season. And so I just pray peace onto you over the next several weeks as we go through this. And I pray that God can literally uplift your spirits, give you that peace that the Bible talks about surpasses all understanding, that people don't even see how you could possibly be in peace given the situations and circumstances that you are in. But I just pray that over your household and pray that you feel loved and absolutely not alone or lonely this season. But thank you for hanging out with me for a little while. So I thought today I kind of went back and forth. What would be something valuable to share with y'all this week? Like, what would be something really good? What's up, Katie? Thank you so much for that. Thank you. This is our first time without him. And so it'll be a new holiday. It will be a new holiday, but God is still really, really good. Okay. And he was a believer. So we know that we will reconnect with him and reconvene again one day. All right. So listen, family, I thought about what should I share with you today? And I wanted to talk about something really near and dear to my heart. And so I entitled this video, and I'm only going to keep you about 10 good minutes. You cannot trust them. Sis, hear me clearly. Family, you can't trust them. What am I talking about? Okay, so I'm going to start with a quick story. As we know, we are hopefully, prayerfully getting to the other side of COVID. But when COVID was brand new, COVID was a little scary for some of us, right? And so it touched my family as it touched very many families. I know so many people that lost loved ones due to COVID. And so we are fortunate that that did not happen in my family, but we had a situation that was so scary. My dad actually contracted COVID. Now, the backstory is my father was a lung cancer patient in, what year are we in right now, you guys? 2022. So maybe 2019. I'm trying to get the years right. So we'll say 2019. If the year is not right, it's all good. But that's what we're going to use for this video. Okay. For the sake of this video. And so in March, I believe, of 2019, we found out that my dad had been diagnosed with lung cancer. Now, my dad smoked for a very long time. He grew up in that era where smoking was really cool and it was advertised as cool. So unfortunately, he smoked for, my God, from like the age of 15 until I was a freshman in college. And so what is that, 30 years or something like that? So he was diagnosed with lung cancer. Now, I'm very aware to those of you out there that you do not have to be a smoker to get diagnosed with lung cancer. We also know that very personally as well. But this story is about my dad specifically. And so when COVID became a worldwide pandemic, I remember telling my parents to just be cautious and just be careful. And then in April, my dad got sick. Well, the interesting thing was I went over to my parents' house, even though we were supposed to all stay locked up in our homes, but the symptoms that I was hearing, they weren't necessarily sure if it was COVID, because the doctor was also explaining that my dad could have been really stressed because of his upcoming surgery. He was scheduled to have the mass on his lung removed, okay, because it was centralized, it hadn't moved and spread throughout his body. When I went over to the house, he was so insanely frail. I had never seen him look so frail. He was so weak. In a matter of 1 week, he lost over 20 pounds. He was noticeably smaller, noticeably thinner. And what ended up happening was I told my parents in that moment, I was like, listen, y'all, we got a couple of options and we only got a couple. I'm not leaving here until we do one of them. One of them is we call an ambulance, or one of them is I put him in the car right now and I take him to the hospital. And so my mom was like, well, let's just call an ambulance. We did that. Dialed 911, they came. And because my dad at the time was a cancer patient, they were honest with us. And they said, listen, the hospital is not the safest place for him to be right now. And so they assessed him and they said, if any symptoms get worse, he's well enough to stay home. But if anything gets worse, get him to the hospital, give us a call, whatever we needed to do. And I said, okay. But what we did do was went to get something to get his fever down. So once his fever came down a little bit, he had a little more strength. And he got up and he sat at the kitchen table, because when I first got there, he was struggling to even walk across the room. So he sat at the kitchen table and I said, Dad, let me take you to go get a COVID test. Just let me take you to go get it. And at that time, if I remember correctly, only elderly patients or our senior citizens and maybe another small group of the population could get tested. And so I was able to convince my dad to let me take him the very next day to get a COVID test. So we're on our way. We're in the car. The line, I kid you not, is like over a mile long. It's cars. More than a mile. It is long. So we sit in the car and I'm like, okay, no problem. Well, in the process, while we're in the car, my dad starts vomiting in the car almost violently. And so now I'm nervous. Now I'm scared. I'm trembling. I got to calm myself down. I was like, you know what? To hell with this test. We're going straight to the hospital. So we go to the hospital. And before we got there, I remember sitting in the car and I remember driving. I pulled over to the side of the road and I thought out loud to myself audibly, Demita, calm down. You can do this. You were strong enough. Let's go. So I call the hospital. We head out that way. We take him to the emergency room. When they admit him, I did not know if I would ever see my dad again. My dad later told me he did not know if he was going to come out of that hospital. It was real. It was scary. Scariest moment up to that time of my adult life. And what ended up happening was my dad was diagnosed with COVID. He was in the hospital for a few days. He came home. When my dad came home, he could not walk from where I am to the back of that couch without, you would thought he literally sprinted down the street. He would be breathing that hard. It was that difficult. I had never seen anything do so much damage to somebody's body in less than a week. I'd never seen something happen that fast. And so over time, he recovered, 100% full recovery. It took a lot longer than we anticipated and a lot longer than he anticipated. I think it was like a 6 to 8 week recovery time. And we thought it would just be a couple of weeks. What I learned in that instance, okay, you know what? I'm going to give you one more story before I give you that instance. So recently, very recently, literally like a little over a week ago, my husband was on the telephone with his mom. And I heard him coughing and a lot. And I heard it happening a lot. So I go in the back, because whenever he has these really strong, prolonged coughing events, I always just check to make sure he's okay. So I go and I check and he's not okay. And I see him in front of me having a seizure. And I don't know if you've ever seen someone have a seizure, but it's actually kind of scary, right? So I see it. This happens at 11:06 in the morning. How do I know? Because I record everything, record it all, right? So I wrote it down. He didn't know anything had happened. And so while he's on the phone with his mom, because a seizure is a prolonged event, it feels like forever. I let her know, listen, we got to go. I'll call you later. And I'm about to call 911 and he comes out of it. And as he comes out of it, he's like, what's going on? What's wrong? You just had a seizure in front of me. No, I'm fine. He had no idea. Not surprising. That was at 11:06 a.m. And then as the day continues, We're all fine. Everything's good. I continue to check on him. I continue to check. Whenever he has coughing, prolonged coughing fits, I keep checking. So then later on that day, at exactly, because I keep notes, right? This time it's later in the day. So at hold on, I'm looking. At 8:22 p.m., my husband was sitting down and I was in the living room, actually right over here on this couch. My daughter and son, the youngest two, are in the kitchen. The teenager was downstairs somewhere doing what he does. And I heard this loud thud. And I look over at the kids. I said, Giselle, was that you? She said, no, it sounded like it was back there where dad was. I go and check on him. He has fallen on the floor, face flat, because he's had another seizure. And he's just laying there. And now I'm terrified because he's never had a seizure before. And now in a matter of one day, he's had two in the same day. And so now I'm terrified. So now we go to sleep and it's time to go to bed. And of course, he's sleeping and I cannot sleep because he's coughing incessantly, right? He's had two seizures in one day and he's never had a seizure before. And I can't rest. And so he gets up early the next morning and I hear him coughing again, right? This time he's going to the bathroom and I hear him coughing. And when I hear him, I call his name. He doesn't respond. I immediately get into action, hop up out of the bed. It is 5:18 in the morning. Hop up out of the bed, run to the bathroom. He's not responding. I open the door and I see him in the midst of another seizure, about to fall over and hit the floor. So I run and grab his body so he does not hit the floor hard. I just want to stop him from hitting the floor hard. And I had the presence of mind to start counting. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000. By this time he's on the floor. I can't hold him. 6, 1,000, 7, 1,000. I'm looking at him. I'm hearing him make these noises. I'm seeing what's happening to him. 8, 1,000. 9, 1,000. It's still going, you guys. It feels like an eternity. 10, 1,000, 11, 1,000, 13, 1,000, 14, 1,000. And then he comes out of it. And he's like, what happened? How'd I get on the floor? You had another seizure. We got to call your doctor today because this is 3 times and it has not been 24 hours. Something's wrong. I need you to trust me like you didn't trust me the last time and I had to take you to the doctor and we found out something was wrong. I need you to trust me. And so an hour later, 6:41 p.m., he's sitting on this couch over here, right? Looking at the television. My daughter's in the dining room eating something. I don't know. I hear him coughing again. I hop up. I look at him on the couch and I see it happening again. And I go and I just grab his body and I hit record on my phone immediately this time. So now my phone is recording and I'm holding him and I'm like, it's okay, babe. You're going to be good. Let me lay you back. So the phone is now recording the time for me. I no longer have to count it out loud. I can just focus on what I see. And that's when 4 times in less than 24 hours, my husband had a seizure, 4 seizures. And I say to him, it is imperative that we talk to your doctor, not later, today. This is a brand new symptom that we've never seen before. I promise you, this is not the same thing that's been happening in the past. This is different. I need you to trust what I see. I don't know what you feel. I know what I see. And so I ask him again, what are you feeling? He's like, I don't really know, but I'm exhausted. Like I am just so drained. Baby, you're having seizures. We got to call your doctor. So he actually had a procedure scheduled that day. Colonoscopy. Listen, if you're over, I think it's 45, get your colonoscopy, people. All right. So he had a colonoscopy scheduled that day. And as I take him there, run back home, do the work I'm supposed to do, and then I'm going back to pick him up, I say to him, babe, we need to call your doctor or we need to drive up there. Now, I knew I wanted to drive straight to the doctor's office. However, I let him because I knew he didn't want to go. He's so tired of being in the doctor in the hospital all the time, y'all. He is. And so I let him just call. So he calls his nurse and he leaves a message that we need to talk to the doctor right away. Come home. I pick up my daughter from school, right? Because You guys, my daughter that's my love. That's my heart. So I picked her up early from school because I just needed her to be there with me to comfort me. So I picked her up early so she could just hang out with me. We get home. I fell asleep on the couch while we were watching Elf, one of my favorite movies. And then I hop up out of my sleep at 2:30, like, oh my God, the doctor hasn't called us back. So I immediately start calling all the numbers so I can find her. I finally get them on the phone. I explain what's been happening. She says, I need you to take him to the ER. Okay, great. Take him to the ER. My husband was admitted to the hospital. We had found out that he had the flu. And for his specific, what he's fighting, the flu can be quite dangerous. And so we found out that his seizures were from the flu. I didn't know if his seizures were from his illness. Why did I tell you these two really in-depth stories? Because when I look at my father, I would have never thought he could have survived what he went through. When I look at my husband, I honestly thought, am I losing him today? Like I got to go deep and fight deep so I don't feel those feelings and I can let those feelings go. And it reminds me that no matter what the circumstances, you guys, no matter what the situation, you absolutely cannot trust what you see. You cannot trust your physical eyes. You can't, because everything would have told me that I was going to lose my dad 2 or 3 years ago. He wasn't going to be here. You can't trust your eyes. I saw him with my own eyes. I saw what COVID did to his body. I saw how weak he was. I saw how the strongest man I have ever known in my life, how weak he looked in that moment. I saw it. Nobody could take that away. And I was paralyzed in fear for so many months because of what I saw. Do you really think that our Father wants us living in that kind of fear? And what I want you to understand is that when you trust only what you see with your physical senses, you will never, ever reach the maximum potential that God created you to reach. He created you for a specific thing, for a specific purpose in this season, in this time, and all of those things will come to pass when they're supposed to. But if you allow what you physically see, what you can physically touch, taste, smell, hear, all of those 5 senses, if you live your life bound by your 5 senses, you will live a life in a box. It's so interesting. The reason that I'm so big on operating your business using biblical principles is because I want you to understand that I had a friend remind me recently, y'all, even I need to be checked. She called me and she was like, listen, sis, I told God, I was like, I'm not about to get in this woman's business, but she called me and I'm so glad she did. And she asked me, she said, listen, let me ask you a question. She said, how much are you reading? And I was like, not very much, sis, not right now. I used to read a lot more. I'm reading a lot, but I'm not reading my word a lot. And she checked me with godly boldness and love. And that checking was necessary because she reminded me of some things that were so insanely important. So important, right? It looks like we're stuck. Okay, there we go. There we go. I was stuck for a minute, y'all. There we go. I'm back. She reminded me of some things that were so insanely important. And when you are building a business, I know I share a lot of, there she go, right there. Y'all, this is who checked me. Kelly Davis, sis, this is who checked me. Kelly reminded me, Demita, you are not a Christian. You're not a business coach who's a Christian. Kelly reminded me, you are a Christian business coach. Y'all, they're different. They're very different. And it only took me getting back into my word for like a minute, a day, 24 hours for God to start already revealing new stuff to me. That fast, already revealing brand new stuff. And so one of the things that I want to encourage you with, if you are building a business in this season, right? And I know some of y'all, it's the new year. People going to get y'all hyped because it's the new year. Like, oh my God, you can kill it. It's the new year, start over. You can start now. Your new year can be whenever the hell you want your new year to be. Does your new year begin on December 3rd? Then let it start on December 3rd. You don't have to wait for January 1st. Okay. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the marketing. We're good at marketing. That's what we do. But the reality is you can start over whenever you want to start over. Whenever. It doesn't matter when. Doesn't matter. When you start over, that's your new year. Right. And so one of the things that God reminded me, listen to this, y'all, this is so big and this is so huge. And so TD Jakes taught me that your lessons that you teach people come out of your own personal Bible story, personal Bible study. And so one of the things that I was reading and studying, and it's so crazy how God just literally gives you exactly what you need in that moment. He took me to Jacob when Jacob really wanted to marry Rachel. He wanted Rachel, and Rachel's father Laban gave him Leah and then tricked him and had him staying even longer before he could actually get Rachel, before he could have her as his wife. And he said, for 20 years, I have been with you caring for your flocks. In all that time, your sheep and goats never miscarried. In all those years, I never used a single ram of yours for food. If any were attacked and killed by wild animals, I never even showed you the carcass and asked you to reduce the count of your flock. No, I took the loss myself. You made me pay for every stolen animal, whether it was taken in broad daylight or in the dark of night. I worked for you through the scorching heat of the day, through cold and sleepless nights. Yes, for 20 years, I slaved in your house. Listen, why am I telling you guys all of this? Because I want you to understand that when people don't see you, God still sees you. It is never what it looks like. So he goes through all of this and tells him all that you've done. And now listen to this. This is like my favorite part. Hold on. Where to go? I got to tell you my favorite part. He says, I worked for you through the scorching heat of the day and through cold and sleepless nights. Yes, for 20 years, I slaved in your house. I worked for 14 years earning your 2 daughters and then 6 more years for your flock. And you changed my wages 10 times because people will do you dirty. God never will. Listen, in fact, this is the best part. If the God of my father had not been on my side, the God of Abraham and the fearsome God of Isaac, you would have sent me away empty-handed. This is it. Y'all ready? Because this is what it's all about. But God has seen your abuse and my hard work. This is why he appeared to you last night and rebuked you. For God has seen your abuse and my hard work. That is why you work as though you are working unto the Lord in what you do. When you build your business and you think that nobody is watching, keep building your businesses. When you do a video and you think nobody is going to actually view it, keep doing your video, sis. When you put up some content and you think no one's going to find your content, keep doing your content, bruh. When you do like that blog and you think nobody's really going to pay attention, when you write the blog, when you do the video, when you post the content, when you do all the things and you think nobody is paying attention, God says, do it like you're doing it unto me. But see, you can't do that if you are looking at things 100% from your physical senses. Why would you? God doesn't operate from your physical senses. God operates from your spiritual senses. And so if you can remember to look at life through a spiritual glass, it changes everything. And you're telling me, you might be thinking, how do I do that? I don't know if I can. Let me tell you, when you put on, like right now, you're looking out where everything looks like normal color. When you take a pair of sunglasses that have a brown tint to them, guess what happens? When you put them on, everything has a brown hue, right? When you put on a pair of glasses that have like a yellow tint, you put those on, guess what happens? It changes. Now everything has like this yellow tint to it, right? If I take those glasses off and I get a rose gold color tint and put those glasses on, guess what happens? Everything now has a rose gold color tint, right? So it's not, when I take the glasses off, everything looks the same. It's not that the world around you has changed. It is that the way you view the world, the tint, the lens through which you see them has changed. And what I'm telling you is just like my sister reminded me, is that if you look at the world through scriptural lenses, through spiritual lenses, the world itself may not change, but the way you see the world will. And guess what else happens? God sees what you do. So you work as if you are working unto the Lord. The Bible says in Galatians that all of us who are believers in Christ through faith are the sons and daughters, are the children of Abraham. So the very same blessing and promise that was made to Abraham is passed on to us. That Abrahamic blessing. You get that blessing as a brother and sister in the faith. And now you can see things through a spiritual lens. But the only way you can do that is to take some time and read, like my sister encouraged me. So remember, you cannot, absolutely cannot see things through your physical eyes. They will deceive you every single time. For every beautiful thing that God has created, there is a fake counterfeit. For love, y'all, the counterfeit is lust. You thought you loved him until he did you dirty. And you're like, you know what? I don't love this Negro at all. You thought you loved her until you got a piece and now she's not as interesting as she was before. I'm just keeping it all the way real because y'all understand that. We all understand that, right? Lust is a counterfeit of love. Your physical eye is a counterfeit for what your spiritual eyes can tell you. It's different. And so in this season, I pray nothing but absolute peace, blessings, and love upon you. I pray that this video bless you and gives you enough encouragement to continue to take the next step, because I don't care what it looks like on the outside. I don't care what it looks like. Trust me, you out here doubting your potential and somebody else wishing they were in the position that you were in. They are. So y'all have an amazing week. I'll see you back here next week, Tuesday, because we go live every single Tuesday. Thank you for hanging out. Love you to life. And remember, don't trust him, sis. Don't trust him, love. All right. Peace out. See you next time. Bye, y'all.